what we do. And why have I put it together? Well, a couple of reasons, but the main one that we've put it out there today is because a lot of our clients, you, say, well, we don't actually know what to tell our friends and family about what you actually do. So it's really difficult for us to recommend you to do anything. And it really is very simple. We start off actually over here, which is where am I now? And that's, for those of you who have joined us more recently, you get a dirty great book that actually runs to 32 pages. Not that we expect you to fill it all in, but it does establish where you are today. Okay, what's the value of your superannuation or your investment portfolio or whatever. What it also includes, though, is a couple of pages which I consider to be the far most important part of it, and that is where to from here. What is it you're trying to achieve? What are your goals? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? And we'll help you turn them into goals so that we can actually have something financial to aim at for you. Then we will put together a financial plan or a statement of advice. We've called it a route map here because it'll take you from where you are today to where you want to get to in the future. Then you set off on your journey. You work with us. Some of you have worked with us and our predecessors here and the Endro office for years. And then the last point is maintenance. So you come in and see us. You tell us where your goals have changed. You tell us how your plans have changed, where you're going in the future. And we tell you where you are now. And you go around the circle again. And that's rather like Hotel California. Once you're on it, you can't get out. Though hopefully you don't think it's that bad. So, as I say, that's what we do. If you want to take a couple, hand them out to your friends, family, whoever. We thought that was a fairly simplistic way of demonstrating or showing what we do. Last time we were together, I did a presentation on aged care. That was back in November. Most of you were here. We had tremendous response. I ended up presenting to over 100 people. Most of those were people who either came into the office for separate presentations, where we had groups of 10 at a time at Indooroopilly and at Nunda. But what was tremendous for me was one of our clients up in Nambour actually invited a whole bunch of her friends. Now, when I arrived there, I was expecting to present to her and 4 friends. She'd actually organised 13 people to pitch up. The offer is still out there. You heard what I had to say last time. If you've got people who are still interested in hearing the aged care story, give me a shout. We'll set up a time and I'll come out and see you and do the presentation. We've even invested in a screen, so I can actually bring a screen. Why? Because when I went up to Nambour, we actually had to disassemble this lady's lounge room to take pictures off the walls and move the television because it was in the way. Anyway, the next series of presentations we're going to do. And this is a presentation that I had developed for me by some solicitors a while ago. And the reason very simply was this. When I talk to you about your wills and your estate planning, one of the things I ask you is who's your executor? And almost without fail, you'll tell me your executor is one of your children, who is almost certainly not a lawyer or an accountant or a financial planner, which probably means they have very little understanding of the implications of what being an executor is all about. So we had this presentation put together, and it's been checked by the solicitor we currently use for estate planning, and I'll introduce you in just a moment, because he stands out a bit in this room, because he's the only person wearing a tie. Had it checked by him to make sure it's up to date, and we'll be rerunning it. And the purpose of it really is twofold. You to come in and find out or learn exactly what an executor is meant to do, but 2, if you wish to bring your executor with you, give them a really scary experience as to what they have committed to doing by accepting being your executor. Because we've had a number of interesting reactions to the presentation over the years, one of which was one son who just went to his father and said, I can't be your executor, Dad. I don't have the time to do that. And the other one was a father who decided that he was actually going to put into his will, and he went away and had his will rewritten, to actually provide some payment to his executor to cover the time that his executor was no longer going to, or wasn't going to be able to work and would have to commit to wrapping up his estate. So it's had some interesting reactions apart from just learning about what being an executive is. Scott, if you'd like to stand up. This is Scott McDonald. Scott has met, have you met anybody from here? Don't think so. But Scott has been working really hard over the last few months with a number of our clients, putting together their wills and checking out what their wills are currently saying and whether it's actually what they want to achieve. If you'd like to have a chat to him, I'm sure he's got a stack load of business cards. If you haven't had your will at least reviewed in the last couple of years, with what's happened in the markets, it's almost certainly out of date. So, that's Scott. Then, just a quick last one, which does require me to put up a slide, so excuse me. You all right for time? That's not going to happen, so... Touch screens are wonderful if you haven't got fat fingers like me. Okay. Okay, one of the things that has driven this is because we've had a number of telephone calls recently querying not so much the advice we've given but as to why we've given the advice. And I just wanted to explain, because some people get confused between an absolute dollar amount that they're getting by way of a dividend or return on their investment and a percentage return. So many of you participated in the QV Equities launch IPO in August of last year, 22nd of August it was floated, and the opening price was 98 cents, so not huge amounts. Closed today at $1.09. Now this is just the QV Equities share that's $1.09. Those who participated in the initial public offering also got the options, one option per dollar per share, and that's currently trading. Tristan, what did you see it at? 8.5 this morning? 8.5? 8 or 8.5. So that's just additional return. But it's only 11 cents, which you may not think is wonderful, and this is really the point of the query. A lot of clients have said, but it's only 11 cents. What are you getting excited about? Especially when it's compared with one of the funds that we were using an alternative, the Vanguard High Yield Australian Share Fund. Some of you, we pulled money out of this fund to take the opportunity of having an active investment in QV Equities. Because that was open 68.48, it's now 69.47, and heck, that's gone up 99 cents. So that was a pretty silly move, wasn't it? Pulling money out of here to put it into over there. Well, it was if you look at it in that amount, but if I tell you that the return on that over this period, and those dates, by the way, correspond to those dates over there, 1.44% as opposed to 11.22%. So let me tell you, while I'm your financial advisor, that's what I'll be aiming for you. And by the way, if you're in QV Equities, you're also getting a half-cent distribution on the 4th of April, which for the first 6 months I think is not too shabby. But so, the point is, it's not this that we're focusing on, it's this. Okay. That is it. There is some food. It's probably gone cold by now, but just breathe hard. Thank you all very much indeed for coming. Really appreciate it.